Hi, my name is Matthew Belzer, and if you're watching this, you're probably going to be a student in my Introductory to A&P course here at ACC. So the purpose of this video is just to kind of get you guys started and to make sure that everybody gets off to a strong start because it's a demanding class and there's a lot of stuff right out of the gate. So, when you are thinking about how you need to approach this course, the first tool that you have available to you is Blackboard. And Blackboard is where everything is going to be run out of. So, you should have a username and a login ID or a password for Blackboard to access Blackboard. That is a requirement to be in this class. Once you have access to Blackboard, when you log in, you're going to see an interface that looks kind of like this. And if you look to the right, you're going to see something that says My Courses. Now, I'm going to go down to the Introductory Anatomy and Physiology class that I'm teaching, and I'm going to turn off the editing mode so you guys see exactly what you're going to see on when you log in or when you access the online platform. So we have an orientation quiz, and there are 11 questions on this orientation quiz. I'm going to go over those questions one by one. I'm going to kind of highlight important things about each one of these tools, about the syllabus, about the schedule, and then I'm going to get you going on how you're supposed to complete and submit assignments. So the announcements page is where you're always going to be directed. We have this image, which is our course image, and then everything below this is going to be an announcement. There's nothing there because I haven't sent the first announcement out, but when it comes out, that's where you're going to see this video. So all of the updates in this class, any update, or if I'm going to be late or sick or anything like that, is going to be communicated on the announcements page. When I am finished grading your exams, I am going to post to the announcements page. And the good thing about posting to the announcements page is whenever I create an announcement, I have the option to automatically email it to all the course users. So every announcement will be automatically emailed to the course users. Make sure to pay especially close attention to the announcements. And where they get emailed is your ACC email, so make sure to pay attention to your ACC email because you're going to need that for this class. Now, we're going to be meeting twice a week. It's not mandatory, it's optional, and I'm going to get into that in a little bit. But we're going to have optional meetings, study sessions, or class sessions twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. The link to those sessions can be accessed by clicking on the link to Zoom sessions. I repeat, I do not use Blackboard Collaborate. I use Zoom. So if you click on the link to the Zoom sessions, if you're trying to attend the Tuesday night session from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m., you click on this link. If you're trying to attend the Thursday night session from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m., you click on this link. Make sure you're clicking the correct link. It'll take you right there, especially if you already have Zoom downloaded. I've provided all of the meeting information for those people who need to dial in or log in by phone. So all of the information for both of those is there. So you just click on that, right? It'll take you right to the meeting and you can jump right in. You don't have to wait in a waiting room. I don't grant you access or anything like that. If you have the link, you can get into the meeting. So that's where the link for the Zoom sessions are. On the second question is a true or false question. That's pretty true what the statement is there. Now, here's a link to a free textbook. I do not require a textbook in my class. So question number 3 on your orientation quiz is going to say, which of the following, this is a multiple answer question, which of the following is true of the textbook? So really kind of track along and pay attention as I explain this. I do not require a textbook, but I make the OpenStax textbook available to students because some students like to read the text. With that said, the textbook is not required, right? It is not mandatory. And in fact, the exams are going to be based on my lectures, not really the textbook. And they deviate in important ways here and there. So definitely make sure to keep paying attention to the lectures. Now, the textbook can help, right? Reinforce material, especially if you like to read it, but again, it's not required. Oftentimes, this textbook goes into too much depth for an introductory class. It just goes into too much depth for an introductory class. So you have access to a textbook, but it is not required. It doesn't cost any money. You're not paying for software or anything like that. Right, and you can just click on that link that I've provided for you, and it'll take you right there, especially for those of you who like to read the material, which I totally understand. Now, if you look one tab down, you'll see the Tools tab. The Tools tab has a lot of interesting tools, but the most important by a long shot, according to your instructor, question 4 on the orientation quiz, what's the most important tool by a long shot? The My Grades tool. If you click on the My Grades tool, it'll bring up your grade book. If you click on anything in the grade book, you can go back and evaluate it, and that's where everything is going to be run out of. So if you're staying on top of the material, right, you should consistently be checking My Grades, because there are a lot of exams in this class, and you're going to want to know where you're sitting within the class comparative to your classmates. I send out grade announcements after each exam to give you an exact definition of where you are in the class, so you're never going to have to worry about calculating your own grade. I send out those grade announcements after every single exam, right? So course evaluation is not going to become relevant until later in the semester. I'm going to incentivize that with some extra credit points, and from there I'm going to go to this tab with Syllabus and Schedule. So the syllabus is an incredibly important document. You can access it either as a Word or a PDF document. For those of you who say, I can't download Microsoft Word because I don't have Microsoft Office Suite, every ACC student has access to Microsoft Office Suite for free. You can download that for free if you have an ACC email. In fact, if you Google free Microsoft Office Suite for ACC students, it'll be like the first hit. It'll take you to a link that'll walk you through how to do that. If you want some help doing that, I'm happy to guide you through that. But Microsoft Office Suite is free to ACC students, as is the Adobe Suite, which is actually very, very valuable. Okay. So which of the following is true of class day and times? Check all that apply. I have 2 introductory classes that I'm teaching. They're identical courses, right? Doesn't matter whether you're in the synchronous or the asynchronous class, they are identical. So here's the information for the Tuesday, Thursday synchronous class. Here's the information for the asynchronous class. Now, the weekly study sessions are not mandatory, but each one of them is going to be worth 2 points of extra credit. So there's going to be 2 of them a week worth 2 points of extra credit. That's 4 points a week. Think about multiplying that out by 16. That kind of tacks up to a lot of extra credit points. It does not matter if you are in my asynchronous class or in my synchronous class. Everybody, all of you, I encourage you very strongly to attend the Tuesday and Thursday study sessions. So again, they're optional. And the Tuesday and Thursday study sessions are going to be held from 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Again, on Tuesday and Thursday, everyone is welcome to come. It doesn't matter whether you're in my asynchronous or my synchronous class. I'm kind of putting you guys together. It's a large little family that I've created, meaning you're going to have access to me 4 hours a week. I would highly recommend coming, paying attention, engaging during those sessions, because you'll have a very good idea of what to expect on exams. Now, another thing I want to mention about extra credit sessions. So you're going to have a question number 5 that says true of class days and times, Tuesdays and Thursdays from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m., but they are not mandatory. They are optional, but they are worth a little bit of extra credit. Then you're going to get a question that says, check all that apply, which of the following is true of the class lecture days and times. You are not required to come to it. It's optional, but it's worth extra credit. Tuesdays and Thursdays from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. Everybody is welcome to come, but if you can't come, All of those sessions will be recorded and uploaded to Blackboard in an area that I'm going to show you in just a few minutes, so you don't have to worry about it. You just won't get the extra credit, but you'll still be able to access the session. Now, you can read through most of the syllabus on your own. I'm just going to highlight important things. Notably, right, this class is really time intensive. You are going to have to develop some kind of schedule or figure out how you're going to allocate the time necessary to pass a class like anatomy and physiology, because we are the gatekeepers for the allied health programs. I always check skills and prerequisites to make sure that the people in this class meet the HESI, TEAS, TAX requirements, because if I see that a student is falling way behind and getting like 15% on exams, and I go in and I check, let's say their tax score and it's really, really low, I'm going to say, hey, maybe we should think about some developmental classes, because in the long run, that's going to do you a lot more good. Common course objectives for Introductory A&P can be accessed. I've given you a hyperlink to do that. Everybody teaches roughly the same thing. Because we have those common course objectives, we just differ in the method of delivery, but it's the same content. So you're going to have to learn this whether it's with me or whether it's with another professor later on down the road. Now, as I stated earlier, there's no required textbook. I've put that textbook up for you, and it's optional. What is required is that you pay attention to the schedule. You have access to the internet and Blackboard, because that's where all course material is going to be. You watch the lectures and complete the handouts. Handouts are going to be worth points each week, not extra credit points, formal class points. And I would highly recommend you attend the weekly learning sessions in order to get better prepared for exams. And to stay on top of the material, because there's a lot of material in this course. Introductory is not an easy class. For the exams, you're going to have to use something called the Respondus Lockdown Browser. The Respondus Lockdown Browser is just like any other browser, like Firefox or Internet Explorer or Google Chrome. But what it does is it prevents you from opening up other windows, and it also accesses your camera and your mic. So whatever device you take from the exams from, you're going to have a camera and a mic. And during the duration of the exam, you're being filmed and you're being mic'd up or you're being recorded. So if you want to learn more, and that's just for the exams, but that's a non-negotiable. If you want to learn more about the Respondus Lockdown Browser, go ahead and go here. This is also where you can physically download the Respondus Lockdown Browser. And I've put up a practice test. So if you click on those hyperlinks where it says Respondus Quick Start Guide, you'll be directed to a page that allows you to download the Respondus browser. And I've even put up a practice exam. I would recommend taking that practice exam well ahead of time. It's not a content-based exam. It's an exam intended to get you familiar with the Respondus Lockdown Browser. Now, with respect to emails, I have over 150 students. If you just say, hey, not going to be there, peace, I have no idea who you are. So number one thing with emails is always, always, always email me from your ACC email. Always email me from your ACC email. I won't return emails not emailed to the ACC from your ACC email. Number two, always include the course day and time, either in the subject or in the body of the text, and who you are. Because I don't know otherwise. I have a ton of students, and in this online environment, as much as I hate to say it, sometimes people are just obscurities. So I need to make sure to know exactly who I'm talking about if you're trying to convey some important information to me. So all of the online lectures are available. They're asynchronous. There are a set of video lectures that we're going to talk about in depth in just a moment. And then we have synchronous weekly learning sessions on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. They are not required, they are not mandatory, but they are highly recommended, and each one will be worth a couple of extra credit points. Everybody is welcome to attend. Now, if you can't attend and you want to see what we went over in one of those sessions, I will be posting those recordings, which are going to parallel very closely to the online lectures, except you're going to have an opportunity to ask me questions, and in some of those days, we're going to break out and work in groups and do reviews and things like that. Now, grading. There are a total of 8 what I call mini exams, but you can just think of them as exams. I used to only have 4, but a previous class of mine said each exam has way too much content. Can you split those in half? So now I have 8. So there are 8 exams, and each one is worth 100 points apiece. Some of those exams are going to be purely check the box, meaning multiple choice, multiple answer, true, false questions, just checking the box and it immediately gets graded. Some of those exams are going to have a check the box component and a short answer component. The short answer is where people tend to struggle, and that's what we work a lot in the weekly study sessions. Now, if you're thinking about exam availability, I'm always going to, for the first 7 exams, because the last exam is a little bit different, and we'll go over that when I look at the schedule, but for the first 7 exams, I'm always going to make the exam open on a Friday at 8 a.m., and it's going to remain open until a Monday at 11:59 p.m. You can take it any time within that window. I give you a pretty big window with which to take exams. I don't make you log in and take them synchronously with the class. So you can take those exams when you want to. Now, lecture handouts. So there are 8 exams worth 100 points pop. That's 800 of the class points. So where does the 1,120 come from? Every week there are a series of lecture handouts. You are required to complete these. You are required to complete these and then submit these online in either Word or PDF format. I do not accept any other format than Word or PDF format. So, continuing down, you can kind of look at the grading scheme and you can look at the point totals, and we're going to be paralleling really close with that. Withdrawals, attendance, I very rarely auto withdraw students. They have to miss like the first exam and the first 2 weeks of the class, and then I'll go, I'll likely pluck you out at some point, right? And I'll send you a courtesy email before I do that. But for the most part, I put the burden of removing yourself from the class on the student. So those withdrawal dates are going to be yours to pay attention to and yours to figure out. I'll send out a couple of emails when important dates are coming up, but I really leave that on you. Incompletes, I will only give an incomplete, right, if every single criteria is met. There is a set of criteria. The departments do not take incompletes lightly. I will absolutely only give an incomplete if you meet every criteria for that. If you are an SAS student, you can send me your accommodation, and I'm happy to try to work with you in any way that I see fit. And then there's COVID material. The one thing that has changed is I no longer offer a mental health day. Those days have changed from the previous semester, so disregard that. I do not offer that anymore. So we have Syllabus 2404 PDF. Now, the other important document here is the course schedule. And you have the schedule in Word and PDF format. The schedule is really, really important because, from a day-to-day perspective, this is going to allow you to track with what's going on in the class. So you have the 2 classes. These are identical classes. Even it doesn't matter which one you're registered for. Everything I'm saying applies to both classes. They're identical classes. Every Tuesday and Thursday, we are going to have synchronous live sessions on Zoom, and everybody is welcome to attend. It's not mandatory, it's optional, but it will be incentivized with extra credit. Now, with respect to getting started in the course, you're going to be amazed at how much content you get right off the bat. There's going to be no real lag or delay in delivering the actual content of the course because we have a ton to cover. So we jump right into it. So the schedule is going to be really important because, one, that lets you know what's going on from week to week. And the way that everything is organized is from week to week. So if you look at the first week, we have Tuesday, August 24th, Intro to Anatomy, Lecture 1 and 2. You should have those done and complete the handouts by Tuesday, August 24th. Thursday, August 26th, Lecture 3 and 4 over anatomical language. right? There are 4 lectures in the first week. Your job is to complete lectures 1 through 4, complete the handouts, and then submit all of those handouts by Sunday at 11:59 p.m. For the first 15 weeks, all of the handout submission deadlines are going to be Sunday at 11:59 p.m. This first Sunday of class, you have the first 4 lecture handouts to submit, and you also have the orientation quiz. So both of those things are due this first Sunday. If you look at the schedule, you got dates, right? You got weekly wrap-ups. Those weekly wrap-ups will tell you exactly what's due. So that second week, we're going to be going over general chemistry. Those handouts are due Sunday, September 5th. Third week, biochemistry. Those handouts are due Sunday, September 12th. Right? So that's when the handouts are due, or the homework assignments. Exams. I will always make exams available on Friday. So the first exam is going to be made available on Friday, September 10th. It's going to go over intro, general chemistry, and biochemistry. It's going to be made available that Friday at 8 a.m., and it's going to remain available until Monday. So this is exams. Open up Friday at 8 a.m., not handouts, exams. Open up Friday at 8 a.m. and then close out Monday at 11:59 p.m. So it's Friday to Monday. You have essentially a 4-day window. One of the things I encourage you not to do is to email me at 11:30 p.m. that first Sunday of an exam and say, hey, I don't know how to work this Respondus. That's exactly what the practice exam I'm going to show you in just a little bit is intended to get across to you. So question 8 on the orientation quiz is, when are handouts or homework assignments due? They're due Sundays, right? So one of the questions just asked, what's due on Sunday, August 29th? Well, you have the orientation quiz and you have the first 4 lecture handouts, which you're going to be submitting following a specific protocol that I'm going to lay out in just a little bit. Now, handouts are not optional. If there's a true or false, handouts are optional. Think about that. Handouts are absolutely not optional. They're required for the course. They are mandatory. They're worth a significant percentage of your grade, and each one of them is worth 20 points. It's a way to incentivize you staying on top of the material. Now, so we have Sundays at 11:59 p.m., which is when our assignments are due. And then we have exams. They always open up at Friday at 8 a.m., close Monday at 11:59 p.m. You're going to have to access them using the Respondus Lockdown browser. So take a real good look at that schedule. Now in the final week, dates shift a little bit, but I'm going to be in contact with you and you can look at that on the schedule. It's just everything is going to be moved up one day because I have a grading submission deadline, but that's only in the final week. So you focus for right now on Unit 1. Now, where can you access the orientation quiz? There's a tab to the left that says Orientation Quiz. For the quiz, you do not need any of the quizzes because you're going to get some extra credit quizzes throughout the semester. Any of the quizzes don't require Respondus. You can click on this, you can use your notes, you can take as much time as you need before August 29th, Sunday, August 29th at 11:59 p.m. to get it done. Make sure to go through the content carefully. Instructor Info. Now, here's my info, and it essentially tells you what to call me, what day the classes are on, things like that. You know that they're Tuesday, Thursday from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m., right? So that's what Instructor Info is. It's just my email address, what to address me as, and you know, the information on the class days and times. Unit 1, there are 8 units. I open them up one by one. Whenever you look at a unit, you're going to see weekly content. So like week 1, week 2, week 3, the first 3 weeks are the first unit. In Unit 1 and only in Unit 1, you're going to see a practice exam. Now this practice exam you will need the Respondus Lockdown Browser for. Don't sweat it. It is not content-based. It is not formally evaluated. It's so you know how to use the Respondus Lockdown Browser. Get on learning that earlier rather than later, because if you email me Sunday at 11:30 p.m. and say, hey, or Monday, pardon me, at 11:30 p.m. and go, hey, I can't access the exam, or I need a password. If you say I need a password, I know you're not using the Respondus Lockdown Browser. The only way that it'll prompt for a password is if you're using something that you're not supposed to be using. I will not give you a password if you say, well, you never mentioned that. I will fast forward to this exact moment in the video and make that known. You have to use the Respondus Lockdown Browser to access exams. I've given you a practice exam so you can do that early. Now, within week one, or within unit 1 content, we have week 1, week 2, week 3. Week 1 is going over introductory material. Week 2 is going over general chemistry. Week 3 is going over biochemistry. So we want to get started, right? It's week 1. We want to get started on what's happening. Well, there are 4 lectures in week 1, and all of this is introductory material. You're going to have to know this material pretty darn well, right? This is a challenging class. It's memory intensive. So if we go to lecture 1, Introduction to Anatomy and Physiology, you're always going to have a lecture video, a lecture handout, and then the PowerPoint off which the presentation was made. What your job to do is to download the lecture handout. Now, I've made it available in Word and PDF format. So let's open it up in Word format just so you can see the 2 methods that are okay to submit this. So this is one of 4 that is due your first week. Now, when you think about what the lecture handouts are, they're guided notes and strategic questions to help reinforce material as you're watching it and going over it in the class. So follow along one. Anatomy is defined as the study of structure, while physiology is defined as the study of function. Structure always determines function. Thought point. It's just saying, hey, take some notes about what I'm elaborating on there. Follow along number 2. I start asking you questions to see whether you're integrating that information and you're able to use it to answer questions maybe you haven't been expressly prepared for, right? So that's handout number 1. 4 handouts are due, and you can do them in one of 2 ways. You can print them out and do them by hand. I really love it when people do that. Or you can come in and you can just modify the document. So you could say anatomy is the study of structure, while and try to change the coloring of your answers. That makes it a lot easier for me to grade. While physiology, you can type it in and then save it. Now, when you save it, make sure you save it as either a Word document or a PDF document. I will not accept Google Docs. I will not accept anything that requires me to download outside software. It is a cybersecurity threat. I'm not allowed to do it. Those particular assignments will receive a score of 0. If you do not have a scanner, you do not need to go out and buy a scanner. Any smartphone, you can go to an app store and you can go free scan to PDF app. I use the Adobe one. So Adobe Scan to PDF. And literally you can just scan a page with your phone and hit save, and then save a bunch of pages and submit that particular document. So you don't need a scanner. If you have a scanner and a printer, that's great. Then just scan it real quick through your scanner. So all 4 of those are going to be required. That's the first week. I mean, we go over that much content in the first week. I really encourage you guys to get on the ball. So you have lecture 1, lecture 2, lecture 3, and lecture 4. Now, at the top of each week's material, you're going to see something that says this folder contains a link to upload week 1 homework and the recorded Zoom sessions for the week. So this is where you're going to find the homework upload link. It's also where you're going to find the recorded Zoom sessions of the week. There are no Zoom sessions available because we haven't had any Zoom sessions yet in the class. Now, I give you some instructions on how to do this the first time around. The rest of those links do not have these instructions. So, watch lectures 1 through 4. As you watch these, complete the associated handouts. You can complete these in one of two ways. First, you may print the handout out and fill it in by hand. Second, you may complete the handout using Microsoft Word and submit digitally. Right? I love it when people print it out and do it by hand. I think it integrates those neural circuits a little bit more effectively, but you choose how you're going to do it. Either one of those is an acceptable way. Once you've completed a handout, scan the file or save the file as PDF, which is my strongest preference, or Word. No other file formats will be accepted because that requires that I download things, and I'm not going to download. There are plenty of apps that allow you to do this. And if you have a scanner, that's great. If you need to access a library, you can find that information in the syllabus. You can also look it up. I would call first to see how protocols are changing with respect to COVID. Right? But there are lots of different ways to save as PDF. The easiest, you'll figure it out. You have a number of different methods. You can ask me if you have problems with that. Typically in this digitally oriented age demographic, not many people do, to be honest. How do you label each file? So you're going to be attaching 4 files, or 5 or 6, right? Depending if you accidentally chunked them out or saved them in a weird way. So how do you label each file? Well, always label each file your last name, your first name, and lecture handout number. So for example, in week 1, you could put lecture handout or lecture HO1. So this is how I would submit a document. Once all of those handouts are completed and you're ready to submit, what you're going to do is you're going to click on this link. You're going to click on this link. You're going to see the due date right there, right? First week. We're going over all this the first week. And then you're going to see something down here that says attach files. You can attach as many files as you want, right? You know, I tell some students, and I really don't like doing this, this is not official, right? But if they can't do it any other way, attach like 22 JPEGs. And I'll look at your JPEGs as long as they're clear. I don't like doing it that way, but I have accepted work that way, especially if people have been pulling out their hair trying to figure out how to scan to PDF. Again, those tend to be my students who maybe did not grow up in the digital age. So you can browse files and then you attach them just like you would attach something to like an email. You just look through your documents, attach, and attach all of the files you want to submit. So this first time around, there should be 4, right? Each one's worth 5 points apiece. Each one's over the handout over a short lecture. When you are ready to, when all those files have been attached, you hit the submit button. Once you hit the submit button, you'll have an opportunity to review, and then you do a final submission. You'll get an email that says, hey, that work has been submitted. I'll usually grade that work within a week, right? So lots of stuff right off the bat. And you'll see that the same general trend holds true for every week's content. So you got lecture 1, general chemistry. Well, you have a link to a lecture, and then you have a handout, and it says just to slide 29, because we're only doing to slide 29. There's 45 slides. So you open up the video and you go, okay, there's my general chemistry, right? So hit play on the video. Okay, so welcome to this. Boom. You're going to do that till slide 29. Fortunately, slide 29 does not go the full 2 hours. It stops well ahead of that because you don't need to know the same things that other anatomy and physiology students need to know. Right? So you're going to complete that handout. Then you're going to go, okay, week 2 content. That's number 1. This is number 2, lecture over pH. I got my handout. I'm going to complete those 2 handouts, and then I am going to submit them, and I am going to submit them using the link here. Notice that I don't provide instructions here because after the first time around, I think you have a good understanding of how to do that. So that's essentially what's going on with the class. I appreciate all of you for coming, and have a good one.